I got one of the three right now. I got my girl Valeen right now. Did I say it right?
Yes, you said my name right.
I said it right. All right. I just want to make sure because I've been saying it wrong this entire time that I've known you.
Everybody does, honestly.
Do they?
Yeah, everybody does.
I'm so excited to have you here. Unfortunately, we don't have both your sisters here, but I do have you. Didn't know you guys were local for the longest time, but have been fascinated with your guys' story and your guys' experience ever since I met you. Obviously, I've become better known with your sister Amanda and her in the Sober Girls group chat, but I've definitely gotten the opportunity to meet you and get to know you a little bit. So excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Good. So for those that don't know you or maybe don't know a little bit of your background, do you just want to give them the kind of cliff notes and how did you get here today?
Okay. My name is Valeen. I am 38 years old. I'm from South Jersey, about a half hour out of Philly. I'm the oldest of three girls. Me and my sisters are all 2 years apart. We grew up very, normal life. My parents are amazing people. If I could describe them, unconditional love. And that's just, who they are. And me and my sisters have always been really close growing up. So.
You're middle or oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Oldest.
Yeah. And
Me
then
too.
Amanda and then Tiffany.
Okay.
We played sports in high school. We all graduated. Everything was good. Me and my youngest sister started doing drugs young. I was about 15 when I first started taking pills, around, the opioid epidemic when that all started, which led to heroin. And then, treatment center to treatment center, all the bad things that happen. And then when I was 27, finally, me and my sisters wound up going on the Dr. Phil show. And then the three of us got separated from each other. We had been using together for years. It was really ugly. We put my parents through hell thinking about what they went through. And they're still together, which is crazy.
They're trauma bonded at this point.
Unconditional love. That's the best way I can describe my family.
Yeah.
Because after this happened, they loved us enough that they just wanted to move forward. Mm-hmm. And we're all still really close with each other.
Yeah.
So we all got separated, and Amanda wound up in California. Tiffany she was in California, went back to New Jersey, and then now she lives in Texas. So she's about a half hour from me. We all have a really great relationship. We talk regularly. Me and my family are super close. So then I did have a relapse back in 2021 after living here for 7 years, and went on a meth bender, and that was crazy. Mm-hmm. Opiates were always my drug of choice. Meth was a new one for me, and it was about 6 months, and every bad possible thing that could happen happened. It was absolutely insane. And so after that is when I got my shit together.
Yeah. So yeah, I was mesmerized when I found out there was three of y'all, because at first I'd only known Amanda through Rachel and the Sober Girls group chat, and then I found out there was three of y'all, and then started digging into the story a little bit, and then I was like, oh my God, three of them under the same house. Like, your parents must have been. How long did it take for Amanda to get involved once you and your youngest sister were messing around?
So Amanda was always a little bit more sneaky than us.
Okay.
So me and Tiffany, she's 5 years younger than me. Almost six, like 5.5. And so that age gap was a little wild. And she started using pretty young.
Okay.
So me and Tiffany kind of were like always using together and then not using together. Because between the three of us, we moved out of the house and moved away, had boyfriends, whatever went on. And so sometimes we would use together, mostly me and Tiffany. Mm-hmm. But Amanda was a little more secretive about it.
Right. So you didn't know she was getting high at the time?
We did, but she just acted like, at this point, I was strung out.
Yeah.
So, and she wasn't. Mm-hmm. She held together a lot better.
Gotcha.
And I have always been more outwardly crazy. Mm-hmm. I've never really been good at hiding what is going on. So my meltdowns were very, I'm going to let everybody know I'm not okay. So, she was just always doing a little better in her mind. So I wound up going to treatment in Florida in, oh God, I don't even know what year that was.
This is all prior to Dr. Phil, right?
Yes. So it was 2010, and Amanda finally got in a little bit of trouble, and then she came down to Florida with me.
Okay.
And then me and Amanda started using together, and things got really bad.
We're out in Florida.
West Palm Beach.
Okay, that's where
It was crazy down there.
Florida's where it went bad for me too.
Oh my God, it was crazy. Yeah. I think that was probably in top 3 worst times of my life down there.
Yeah.
It was fun till it wasn't fun at all.
Yeah.
But things started getting out of hand, and Amanda went home. She's like, I can't handle this. Like, this is not going to end well. And she went back to New Jersey. I stayed. So when I left Florida finally. I called my parents, like, SOS, please help me. This is terrible. My dad came and got me, brought me back to New Jersey. And that's when me, Amanda, and Tiffany all ended up together.
Right.
Just accidentally back under the same roof again. All of us are using heroin. And that lasted for, I think, a little over 3 years straight.
Wow.
We put my parents through absolute hell. But my mom would not kick us out of the house. So
they just had all the doors locked and everything nailed down, or what?
They took the doorknobs out. My dad took you couldn't lock any door.
Lock any door?
No, even the bathroom door. So there was no knob on any door. Yeah, and he would look through the trash. How crazy we made my parents.
Yeah.
It's still beyond comprehension. At the time it was so normal, but they just wanted us to stop. They just wanted us to get better. Every time we went to rehab, every time we asked for help, they were there to support. But when things were bad, they were trying to give us every consequence in the world, except for making us homeless.
Yeah. Yep. I always thought I knew what I put my family through, but until I saw them speak on the documentary, that's when I truly started to understand. I was like, wow, this is much deeper than I thought. I thought once I got better, just everybody would be better. And it turns out it wasn't like that.
No. And I get that. I was almost mad at my mom after the Dr. Phil show because I would call her and she was short with me. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted everything to be fine.
Right. I'm good now. Why isn't everything good?
Yeah, can we chill out, please?
Yeah.
And my parents, when I think about it, the whole Dr. Phil thing, they're pretty private people. They didn't want to do this, but they did this because they knew it would get us help. And the sacrifice that takes to go on national television and just completely air all of your stuff out there. And it wasn't even just our behaviors, it was theirs, because people are real quick to look at it from the outside and say, kick them out. Give them the worst consequences, whatever. But when you love your kids that much, you never know what you're going to do until you're in that situation. And it really hit me probably in the last year how much of a sacrifice that was from my parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do interventions, and that's one of the toughest part about doing interventions is being able to get the family to the point where they're ready to draw that line in the sand and say, we're not willing to do this, or this anymore. And it goes against every moral fiber in a mother, especially a mother's body. It's tough for dad sometimes, but moms are usually the most difficult and the last to want to hold on. But what they don't understand, just because they're programmed to preserve and help and nurture and all that, and they don't understand that disconnect is what we actually need, and that line drawn in the sand.
Well, and I'm sure you're going to understand this too. Ever since that too, me and my sisters talk about it on the internet. So I'm sure your mom also, your parents, it keeps on coming,
Yeah, it's going on pretty big in my life right now, for sure.
And you're on a big scale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they didn't ask for this life that we're leading. I definitely know that they're happy, obviously, that, on my case, they're definitely happy that we could put a positive spin on it and it could be used to help people. But also they still look at it as, I've talked about it so much and so openly that button's dead for me. I'll go in front of anybody and tell them I'm a heroin addict, doesn't register to me at all. They're still obviously not like that. And I remember it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. We were sitting down, me and my wife, my mom, my stepdad, and we're sitting there talking, and my mom started asking me, she's like, hey, do you remember that time when you were in the military and, I flew to come see you and you didn't pick me up from the airport? And I was like, no, I don't remember that. And then she's like, do you remember that one time I flew in and I cooked Thanksgiving dinner for you and all your Army buddies and you nodded out at the table? And I was like, I don't remember that either. And she's like, how don't you remember these things? And I was like, I was high, Mom. I'm horribly sorry I don't remember, but I don't remember these things. And she's like, well, I just don't understand how you're okay with all that now. And I was like, because I use it to help people every day. I've talked about it so much, it's not uncovered anymore. Nobody's going to discover anything. That button is dead. And so where I don't understand still now just like I thought, hey, I'm sober now, everything needs to be okay. I also think hey, we use this to help people and that they're supposed to be as open or as enthusiastic about doing it as you or I are, which is not the case sometimes.
Well, the first podcast I did too, I asked my mom and my dad and my daughter, because I have a daughter, she's 17, and I asked them, are you guys okay with this? You know, because I just felt bad. I don't want to just keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky that they're all super supportive and they see it as like, you know, helping other people because they see what I was like and they see what I'm like now. And, you know, honestly, all is well, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Compared to what it was, all is well for sure. No, it's a, I don't know. I think it's something that only people like us that have been through it and then now use it to help other people can truly understand what we're doing and how much it does help, because you and I both know the messages we get from posting something random of something that, you know what I mean? Like something that's no big deal for me to talk about, but somebody who's not used to talking about it now gets the floodgates open and they can.
I love getting the DM that's like, I'm not sober, and I'm having a really hard time, but you give me faith that I might be able to get sober. And those ones are the ones that hit me the hardest because that's the whole reason why I talk about it.
Yep.
It takes the shame away a little bit. Shame drove my car for a really long time, and I couldn't get out of that shame loop.
Right. So once you went on, well, number one, how did you guys even end up on Dr. Phil?
So, funny story. We're in the middle of our addiction. Things are going terrible. Dr. Phil, this is 2014. So it's before the internet was super
quick
crazy.
Glimpse. What does terrible look like?
All right. So we're all using together every single day. I am now selling my body for drugs. A lot of criminal activity going on. I lost my job. Amanda was working at a convenience store, I believe, and Tiffany was working at a pizza shop. Tiffany, got arrested a lot. This is Tiffany's thing.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't know that.
She's always. I always joke with her. I'm like, Tiffany's always getting arrested. Always in jail. So there's like that aspect of it, and my parents are just like fighting for their lives. Like, what do I do?
Right.
And we don't come from money, so we're going to state-funded facilities. They won't take 3 sisters at the same time. Mm-hmm. So one of us will go, and then they'll take another one of us. By the time that, I get out, my sisters are still getting high. So we just keep on
back into it,
doing that over and over again. We just have no options. Mm-hmm. There's nobody to help. We can't go to rehab. We won't leave each other. We're just so bonded together. It was so sick. My parents were absolutely freaking miserable. And Dr. Phil would be on the TV, after work, just every day. So my parents would watch it and they would just point out, the bad episodes and stuff to us. Amanda wound up writing Dr. Phil. And
she literally wrote a letter?
Yeah, it's like an email, okay. I guess, like on the desktop computer, 2014 vibes. And I remember her telling me she did this, and I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, what is this going to do,
right, yeah. Whatever, I'm going to get high.
Yeah, and I don't know if she actually thought it would work or if it was just something we could tell my dad, like, hey, we're trying to get help, but they didn't pull that email for 2 years.
No shit.
So So 2 years later, Amanda has a voicemail on her phone saying it's the Dr. Phil show, the producers, how are things going? I'm nodded out on the couch. It's the middle of the night when she gets, because we're on Jersey time, they're on California time. Mm-hmm. And she plays this voicemail. And I'm like, no fucking way. And they were there the next day. We were like, shit. Things are worse than they were 2 years ago, you know?
So were you guys all ready at this point?
Yeah.
You guys are all like...
Tiffany just got out of jail.
Okay.
So she was about 5 days out of jail. Amanda and me were, we're just done. Mm-hmm. So, and I think the hardest part about the Dr. Phil show, when I think about it, they wouldn't confirm they were going to give us help. I think it was like they wanted the surprise effect, even though I'm like, if I'm doing this for nothing, that's crazy, Part of me wanted to believe like for sure we're getting help, but a little piece of me was like, what if we don't after this? Mm-hmm.
We just go on there, embarrass our parents, tell our story, and they send our ass home.
Oh my God, I would have a heart attack. But when they said we're separating you guys, mm-hmm. They called me the ringleader.
They did?
Yeah, and they
on
sent
TV?
me. Yeah, I'm the ringleader. I'm the oldest, and I orchestrate everything. I was extremely controlling, and I did make the most money, and it was really unhealthy. I would say borderline abusive, verbally abusive.
Right.
You know, I love my sisters. I would never see them sick, but I was also so pissed off that I was doing the things that I was doing, and that, you know, we all shared money.
It's a sick time. Trust me, I get it.
Yeah, it was messed up. And when they said we're separating you guys, and then they're like sending me to an island in Texas, and I'm like, an island in Texas? What do you mean? You know, because I went down to South Padre Island.
Yeah.
And it was just when they said they're.
I spoke down at that treatment center before.
Oh, did you? Yeah, they said they're pulling us apart. And I think that's when that's when it really hit me what's going on. You know?
So they told you this on stage? You guys are getting sent somewhere, but you're going somewhere apart?
Yes.
That was part of the treatment plan, was we have to get you guys separated?
Yes. And they actually said we weren't allowed to talk, I think, for like, I don't remember if it was 6 months or a year. So we didn't talk to each other for like, I was in treatment for 6 months. So, and I was in a very strict treatment center. So I had like one phone call a week. And I wasn't allowed to talk to my sisters. So,
how do you feel? Because my last treatment center was a 6-month inpatient state-funded treatment center. Best thing probably that ever happened to me, because me trying to do 30 or 60, 90 days wasn't enough for me. Like, I really needed my brain that time to heal and like get my feet up under me and like start getting reestablished again. Do you think that?
Best thing that ever happened to me. Honestly, I think I could have went longer, and it probably would have been better. You know, I didn't know how to live.
Yeah.
And I was in a very strict 12-step treatment center. And it was all big book, everything. And then they integrated me into a, what do they call it? Like a PHP.
Yep.
You know, so it's not like not sober living, but like, you know, you get your phone taken away at 9.
Yeah.
You still go to group, and I was still there on the island. So it was just like, it was a good integration. And especially after like the Dr. Phil thing, social media at that point wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm from a small town in New Jersey. Everybody is sharing the Dr. Phil thing. Some people I know are like, you know, being really mean. And that was very hurtful to people, to strangers that were saying messed up things. Because a lot of people said a lot of really messed up things about my family. But, you know,
you're in treatment
overwhelming.
this time. How are you hearing all this?
Well, the show, I went to treatment in September. The show aired in November. The first thing came to my head, I begged them. I was like, please let me log into my Facebook and deactivate it. Like, please, 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 please. And they actually did allow me to do that because it was just being shared constantly. We didn't tell anybody what was happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we didn't like, you know, the only person that knew was my daughter's father, close family. But I didn't really like, it was such a weird, and I was also super faded. I was doing heroin, taking Xanax.
Right.
And, you know when you're going to treatment and you just like, things gradually get worse. Like, because you're like, okay, I'm going in a week.
Yeah.
So over that week, things just get absolutely bananas. Yeah. So that's kind of, you know, so we didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, I remember being in my the bondsman's office as I was turning myself in off bond to go in, and I'd like, so can I use the bathroom, as I'm sitting there guzzling methadone take-home bottles and shooting up my last shit before I go in and everything else. Gets crazy.
It gets super crazy.
Yeah.
You don't even know. Then you like make it past a few days in, and you're like, what the hell did I just do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they sent you down. So you've been in Texas ever since?
Yeah. I've been here since February 2015.
Okay. Damn, you got, okay.
I'm Texan now.
Yeah. So I got stationed here in 07. And I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago, and they're like, oh, you know, when did you get to Texas? And I was like, oh, stationed here in 07. They're like, you've been here almost 20 years? I was like, no, I have. Oh, shit, I've been here almost 20 years. So
time flies.
Full-fledged Texan now, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I got. Guns. I got dead shit on my walls.
You had said that earlier. I don't know about you, but and everybody's recovery story is different, or their sobriety journey. But in many ways, Texas, Austin in particular, saved me, just because coming from up north, the weather's shitty all year long. There's no running culture. There's no bicycle culture, fitness culture. Like, there was none of that where I was from. So to end up here in Texas and Austin, for it to be nice like it is year round pretty much, and have so many like vibrant communities of people doing athletic shit, it was like I found a lifeline here that I wasn't finding anywhere else.
And I don't know that there was anything up there like near me, because I wasn't involved in it, you know?
Right.
Texas, coming here it saved my life. It got me away from, it gave me a bigger life than I could have ever imagined, honestly.
Yeah, it was the yin to the yang that I needed. You know what I mean? I like that up north, fast paced life, go 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 all the time, but it is not good for me.
Texas was never on the map for me. Like this wasn't ever an option, no. Especially, being from outside of Philly, an Eagles fan, and then the ultimate enemy, Dallas.
Yeah. And isn't that where you said your husband's from?
Yeah, I married a Dallas fan.
He's a Dallas fan?
He's a Cowboys fan.
Oh,
yeah, he's a Cowboys fan. Yeah.
How does that, are you really a fan?
No, I mean, it's just like engraved in me, okay. But I don't really watch football, honestly.
Gotcha.
Anymore. I used to love to tailgate.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I want to say one of the first games I ever went was a Pittsburgh versus Philly game.
Philly fans are wild.
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
they're fun.
No, I don't have any problem with Philly. Like, if Pittsburgh's not in it, we could root for Philly.
Yeah.
Any passionate fans I can get behind.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, who even likes being a Cowboys fan right now? Anyways, like you guys chill out. So that's shut down the whole shit talking.
There's not really much rivalry there anymore.
No, until there isn't.
So what was it like? So you come down here, you establish this new life, you get sober, your sisters are off doing their thing, and did everybody pretty much from the Dr. Phil show, obviously you had one slip up, but did everybody do pretty well after that?
Yeah.
Since?
Amanda has stayed completely sober ever since then.
Hell yeah.
Super proud of her. Tiffany had a relapse when she went back to New Jersey, and that's how she ended up here in Texas. I put her in treatment, I think it was in Waco.
Okay.
And then she came to where I live.
Hell yeah.
And I did well I was completely sober for over a year, super involved in the program, got really overwhelmed. I worked the program alcoholically, and I was doing way too much.
Yeah.
Like a spiritual giant, and I wound up, to get away from it, I needed to cut some responsibilities. I had like 10 sponsees. When I say I worked it like out of control. And so I wound up smoking weed just to get out of the program. Instead of, having a conversation with anybody about anything, that was my out. So, and I kind of did that. And I would drink sometimes for a few years. Mental health, not well. But overall, it wasn't like it looked like before.
Right.
So comparing it to a complete heroin addiction, it looked a lot different.
It's acceptable.
Yeah, it's acceptable. I was doing all right according to, other people who didn't know what I was capable of. So, and I had met my husband when I first moved here. Our sobriety dates were very close to each other. After I relapsed, after that year, I wound up getting pregnant with my daughter. So I have a 9-year-old too.
Okay.
And I struggled with postpartum pretty bad. Like I said, mental health was not well. It's like I was just clawing for help from anybody that would help me, but I wouldn't follow any suggestions.
Right.
And then around COVID, I had a good job. I was restaurant manager. Everything was going well. And right after COVID, so it was 2021, I relapsed on Adderall.
Okay.
And then that led to methamphetamines, and it was absolutely terrible. So...
How did, once that happened, like what was, Amanda, who stayed sober the entire time, what's her demeanor when she finds out you slipped up?
So I think I hit it well at first, and it started off by I'm working a lot of hours. COVID, I had to fire half my staff, and I'm running with the skeleton crew now, so I'm working extra hours. So it started off with like it's like you don't even realize how your brain goes there so fast, but what's going to help me work more, harder,
Adderall and meth, for
Adderall.
Sure.
And so I got a prescription because I'm ADHD, of course, and then the Adderall wasn't enough. So that led to meth. So I think around the time that I started doing meth, which is super bizarre to me because I kind of told everybody I was doing it. I don't know, meth makes you crazy. I didn't see, I still don't understand why I did that.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like, but everything's fine.
Meth. People that are doing meth have a great way of justifying it too. They're like, I get so much done. Like it just, other people it does this, but me it levels me out and just makes me really lock into work, and I don't see shit getting done.
No, it's crazy. It is absolutely, and I was full of rage. Like I had this anger. Like if you told me you have a problem, I'm like, no, I don't. So I think Amanda had found out when things started getting like kind of bad because me and my husband had relapsed together. And then we had CPS involved. It was an actual nightmare. And so Amanda had found out. She had called me and she's like, you're going to rehab. I think that, all all the kindness that you have for, your friends and strangers goes out the window when it's your sister, And she called me. She was really pissed. And I yelled at her back, like, I'm fine. Leave me alone. It's like, I've never been, I've always accepted help. So this was like a new experience for me because everybody's like, you have a problem? And I'll be like, I have a problem. I need help. Send me to rehab. This was the first time that I was like, leave me alone. I was so ashamed. I don't understand how it happened so quickly. Then my dad FaceTimed me. Didn't want to answer it because, he don't FaceTime me. So, and he, I'm looking at him and he's like, you look like shit, And I'm like, damn. So I'm busted.
Calling you out deep in your soul.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
And, but I wouldn't accept help. So I let it go a few more months. Things got even worse than they were. And it got to a point where I was like, I can't take it anymore. Like, SOS, somebody help.
Mm-hmm.
And then I called my husband. I was like, I'm going to rehab. And he's like, that's so crazy. I just told my mom I'm going to rehab too.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, all right, good. We're on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
So we went on the same day.
Same place?
No, not the
right.
same place.
Thank
I
God.
went back to the island.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Really?
And he went out to California.
Okay.
So we're really lucky. And this again with my unconditional love from my family and also my in-laws. Everybody stepped in because we have a house, we have dogs, we have a kid. We have all these things. So this is the first time I'm ever trying to get sober with things. And that's never happened before. I go in with a trash bag of clothes.
Yeah. Damn. Are you still in the program now?
I actually just started going to meetings again over the last few months, like probably the last 2 months.
Good shit.
I've missed the community.
Yeah.
I have.
I talk about it all the time, but that was my problem for years was, I'd get into the program and, like you said, do it alcoholically, where now my entire world and everything that surrounds me is this recovery bubble. And it was like I'd never put any emphasis on building a life for myself or finding any enjoyment out of life, like good, healthy, constructive enjoyment or anything. And as soon as I started doing that, like everything else kind of fell in place. But for years, I would always trap myself in that recovery bubble, and I see it happen all the time.
Did you lack boundaries too? I was always trying to save everybody.
No, I don't think I lacked boundaries.
I did. I was always trying to save it was just that helping others. It was like,
I think when I got in, I quickly got into recovery coaching when I got sober.
Okay.
And then after a year about that, but then I was training people in the gym.
Yeah.
And so I would recovery coach them as I'm training people in the gym. So I really enjoyed and loved that. But at first, because I was so passionate about the working out aspect, I'd want people to get it like I got it.
Yeah.
And when people weren't taking to it, that would bother me. And if they would fall off, then I would take it hard like it was me. You know what I mean? I would take it personally.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a good learning lesson for that, like right off the bat. And then I enjoyed I knew I worked my steps and all that stuff, but I knew I started doing the coaching thing. And I knew there were far better people to take people through the work in the big book better than me. So it was like, cool, I'll be your coach. I'll teach you how to work out. We can have conversations, but absolutely go get your sponsor.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I remember when because I was looking at they just charged me as a habitual criminal. I think I'm going to prison for 20 years. So I'm getting clean for the right reasons now because I want to get clean. I'm already in trouble. You know what I mean? But in my mind, it's like I don't want to go kick when I have to go to county.
Yeah.
So I'll get sober now so I don't go to kick there. And at least maybe I can get back on speaking terms with my family before then was like my mindset. And so it's what made me like get into it for the right reasons. And then just quickly understanding, finding the running, finding the community. And I just kind of taken this different route of being able to use my experience to help others.
After treatment this last time, this was the first time that I got plopped back into real life.
Uh-huh.
So I have a CPS case. Me and my husband both get home from rehab within the same, few days of each other. We have a mortgage. I have a job. He has a job. We have dogs. Normally you get to go to sober living, dilly-dally for a while, make some friends, chop it up,
Yeah.
ease back into life.
Not this time.
No, right back into real life. It was brutal. It was hard, but I am grateful. So I had some friends in the program call CPS on me. So I was pretty mad at the program as a whole, people. I didn't see it as like them just didn't know what to do with me, So I did have counseling. I was like mandated and I had like drug tested where they cut my hair and stuff like that. So the counseling, the once a week counseling. So I did get plopped back into real life, but I was forced to go IOP, and I had to go see this counselor once a week, and slowly, and he was real big into CBT therapy. So I was forced to go to meetings, to get my paper signed.
Yeah.
But I was like not really like involved in that. But the counseling, he was big into CBT, so I would just go in there and just be like super negative, and he's just turning everything around positive. I would get so annoyed with this guy. Okay, and that was probably about like, I don't know, 9 months of that, and then they closed the case. I think it saved my ass.
Really?
It did, and that was so about 9 months in, and I didn't stay sober, but I didn't get strung out. I went back to drinking occasionally or smoking occasionally. I wanted to stay far away from the program. I wanted nothing to do with the people or all the problems. I was, I didn't want everybody calling me for stuff all the time. There was just so many issues I had in my brain. And I have heroin detox. I've detoxed, and then you get better. Meth, I detoxed, and I just went crazier.
Oh, really?
I was having panic attacks for, I don't know, I'm going to say upwards of a year.
Really?
It was a whole different experience for me this time. I was mentally very unwell. And also having to go back into real life, like I didn't get to leave the state. So now I'm like, this job that I just left, that I just made a fool of myself. They saved my job for some reason. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, and I went back to that job, and they knew me as this crazy person. And, I'm like, I swear I'm not like that.
She's crazy, but she sure does get a lot of work done.
Yes. So, and it was a time of redemption.
Okay.
It was. And, but I didn't stay sober for a while, but I wasn't like doing terrible.
Yeah.
I lost my best friend about a year after treatment this last time. She died from a blood clot in front of me. Her boyfriend called me to take her to the ER. And I got there and she died. And her kids were home. It was, after everything I've been through my whole entire life, some really messed up stuff, losing custody of my daughter, the Dr. Phil show, like all these things that like were just so terrible. And then watching somebody die. And, going into this, my personality was kind of like dark humor, like joking about like suicide, like it was, I made like being depressed my personality.
Yeah.
And then seeing her die, and I'm like, that's not what I want. And I'm really lucky those same friends who called CPS on me put me in therapy.
Really?
Yeah. Damn. Full circle moment right there, yeah. So they put me in therapy, and I have been in therapy every week consistently for about 3.5 years now since this has happened. And therapy has changed my life.
Yeah, it's helped me a ton.
And I also want to add, too, that probably around the time, I was like 9 months out of treatment, and my little sister, Tiffany, made me start going to the gym with her. And the gym made me nervous because you think people are judging you. Yeah. All those fears, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
And she made me go. Between that and therapy, that was the combination I needed. And, after my best friend died, that next morning I woke up, I didn't know what to do. It's like, when something really bad happens and you like go to sleep and then you wake up in the morning and then you remember like, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. And I went to the gym, and I was crying at the gym. I like to sit in the sauna, and a bunch of my like retired old friends, like they would just listen to my problems. But I listened to theirs too.
Right.
So between the gym and therapy, it saved my life, honestly.
That's good shit. Yeah, therapy. It sounds like you've done something similar where you've continued to build on it. You got what you needed from the program and continued to build on it with the gym or therapy or any of these other things. And I didn't do that at first, and then like a year and a half ago, I hit a little mental health thing where all of a sudden I get real depressed. All of a sudden, for the first time, I'm really thinking about suicide, and then like I look around, but I have all these blessings in my life and no real reason to be doing that. So that's what caused me to kind of start going back to therapy. And I ended up learning so much of why I react in certain situations, why I am the way I am, where that comes from, why it comes from there, and all that stuff. And so it gave me a lot of insight on when I am reacting in a certain situation. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Did you feel weird? So for me at first, I've had therapy or like that counselor before, but this time I was going in, this really messed up thing just happened and I couldn't stop crying. Yeah. And PTSD is a whole real thing, which, I don't know. I don't know if I thought my young sister was married and he was in the military, and he would have these like freakouts, and they were very dramatic. And I feel like, you know, I shouldn't say this, but he almost like did it as a show, you know? So I saw PTSD as like a cop out, you know, like you're announcing it's my PTSD, you know? So going to therapy with a traumatic event, and she's like, you have CPTSD. And I'm like, what? You know? But it opened the floodgates for everything that has happened my whole entire life. And I'm talking about things that happened 10 years ago, and it felt so dumb. So when you started therapy, did you feel like, why am I even talking about this right now? Why am I even upset about this? Like, this happened so long ago.
I think when I went into therapy, I truly, for the first time, wanted to understand why I am the way I am. And so there was a lot of things that she would talk about or bring up, and that I would like get all tense. And she's like, well, why are you having that reaction? And I'm like, well, that's soft. That's this, that's that. Okay, well, why do you think that's that way? Why is that a problem if it is? And then it was I could kind of take a step back and I look at it of just being like this one big ball of tension that was just so like shaken, and there's so much tension, and I just watched her like unwind it. You know what I mean? And continue to unwind it till I started understanding more. And then it got to the point where it was so good, and then I came back and she was like, yeah, I think you should just you probably don't need me anymore. You should just probably start going to meetings or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Cool. I graduated.
We made it so far, and now we're already done, but it'll save me a whole lot of money, so I appreciate it. But yeah, it was, I don't know. I got a lot out of it, but I think it's because I did it. I'd done therapy before and never got shit out of it, but I was just in there telling them what they wanted to hear, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With my own agenda. This was the first time where I was completely submitted and just truly wanted to get something out of it.
See, and I don't even think I went into this intentionally. I just wanted help getting rid of like this vision in my head, because this was the first time that I thought to myself, how am I going to have a normal life? You know, like with this picture of what just happened in my brain. Like, how do you move past this? Like, this is it. This is what's going to take me out finally. So, I almost wanted to talk about anything other than that. So I started talking about other weird stuff, you know, that was like, I would joke around about the Dr. Phil show a lot. You know, I deal with my problems and trauma with dark humor.
Me too.
And
we're from up north. That's the love language.
It is. And, you know, and it is funny.
Yeah.
But suddenly I'm in therapy and I'm talking about some of these things and I'm just like not finding them as funny, you know? And I think it finally hit me that all these things, you know, and they're not bad. They made me who I am.
Right.
You know, and they made me stronger and it made me better. But goodness, some of these things were not as funny as I thought they were.
Right.
You know, and so I'm talking about it. It just kind of like cracked me open. And I was transparent, just completely transparent for the first time in my life. And my therapist talking about how I just run on shame. Like, it's no matter what is going on, it's followed up by shame. And I just had to learn how to stop doing that.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't know if you feel it this way or maybe if you've thought about it this way, but so yeah, shame and insecurity and negative self-talk and all that stuff. And I was able to take all that, like, all that stuff I feel like gives me a chip on my shoulder. Like, I got something to prove. And so, like, when I got into the running shit, that's why I attacked it like I did. And so it's like, oh, I'm going to go run 100 fucking miles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going in there to get as big as fuck. Like, just being able to kind of channel that addict mentality into a positive way.
Yeah.
But be able to have a healthy balance about it. But everything I did, it was like, oh, I was a fucking drug addict. I just got out of prison. Like, I got something to prove. And so I would walk into these rooms like, I don't feel like I belong here. I'm not as fast as these people. I'm not as strong as these people. But it made me like work harder at it with this chip on my shoulder. And like still to this day, like I still feel like I have stuff to prove to people, my family, my friends, my wife, whoever.
Yeah.
You ever feel like that or no?
Yeah, sometimes I'm getting there. Okay. And I think that's like super powerful. And I think actually, I shouldn't say I'm getting there. I think I'm at that point. Okay. But I think my shame made me hide. I wanted to be small.
Yeah.
I didn't want to upset anybody anymore. You know, I didn't want to bring stuff up for my parents, my daughter, my sisters. Like, I just want everybody to be like, okay, Valeen's chill. Like, we don't have to worry about her anymore. Right. And that was like my one, you know, and I think shame kept me small for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Brene Brown girl.
Okay.
I don't know if you go.
I've definitely heard the name.
Okay. And she researches shame. And she's, you know, If I could shake that woman's hand, give her a hug, I would love to. Her books have changed my life.
Yeah.
Like Shame, Resilience, because it was my biggest. I don't know if anybody's ever told me, or if maybe I just wasn't listening, but like shame, it ran my life. How to overcome it. I didn't have it wasn't giving me power. I think it does now, because now I feel like I don't feel small anymore.
Right.
I feel like I did it.
Yep. So when I stepped out into the world as a recovering drug addict or whatever, I was very insecure, and I thought everybody knew. So then I have this chip on my shoulder that I'm not as good as everybody because I'm a heroin addict and I've been to prison. And prison was my big thing. Like, I was mortified. It was like, once I thought prison was cool for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, man, I could do fucking time. This shit ain't no problem. And I got in there and was like, what the fuck was I talking about? This shit is trash. This shit sucks. And so I get out and I'm like, man, everybody's going to know I'm a loser. I've been locked up and all that. And so I think that's what gave me that chip on my shoulder. But I also knew, like, I hadn't accomplished shit in life. I hadn't done anything. So there was nothing about my life that was there to be proud of, or the only thing I could hang my hat on was like, oh, I got sober.
Yeah.
But like, that's going to get you how far? You know what I mean? Like, you can only say that for so long before it stops having that same attaboy effect. And so when I got into the running and I started, it sounds silly, but it was like my first run, I went and ran 2 miles. Like, my lungs are on fire. I hated every step of it. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? It's 5 in the morning. This is trash. But I got done and I just felt this sense of accomplishment. And I wanted to keep feeling that. So I kept going back. And then the way I try to explain it to everybody is number one, like, there's something that going to the gym is cool, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go to the gym, right? But with the gym, unless you're going to go say, hey, I'm going to go be a bodybuilder and I'm going to step on stage, or hey, I'm going to work until I can lift X amount of weight or something like that. But the gym is very good with, like, getting us in that repetition each day of still showing up and all that. But like, going and training for something, or going to try to tackle a race that you can sit here right now and be like, there's no way. I don't know if I can finish that. Like, it's a scary thing to walk through, but then you go do it and then you overcome it, and it keeps, like, raising that bar. Yeah. And so that's why I think the difference of what I got out of finally getting that fulfillment, or that thing that I needed to start filling that hole. Yeah. Number one is helping people, but just the self-confidence aspect of not hanging my hat on, I got sober. It's like, motherfucker, I got sober. I'm out here running ultra marathons against people that have been doing this their entire life.
Which also is so wild.
I've been shooting dope the whole time. I was in prison while these people were running races, and now I'm beating them. Like, that was the shit. Was like, I found something. And so I just kept.
That's what my husband kind of told. He told me the other day, I'm like a tourist of the gym. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I go and I work out. Yeah, it was so funny though, because I go work out, but I also there's a community there. Yeah. And they're like, where have you been, or what's going on with you? And they hold me accountable. And it's 94 years old, all the way down to my age. Yep. And and that's I love people. Yeah. I'm just like that. So, and I did run a half marathon one time.
Let's go.
Didn't train right. I hurt my knee pretty bad, but I killed it. Okay. Average 10-minute miles. Okay. I love running. I just don't think it loves my body.
It does. Why do you say that?
My knees always hurt.
After the episode, we'll go over the mechanics of your running and see why that's happening. But
get me back into it.
I'm willing to bet you're landing on your heel instead of the ball of your foot, or something simple like that.
It's probably something stupid. And, honestly, you saying it is probably fear of, and that's what a lot of it is.
All of it.
It is.
Everything.
It is.
I keep having this conversation, but I feel like, how old are you?
38.
All right. Once we get to this age.
Yeah.
Right, I'm older than you, but once we get to this age, every adult, we all have that in the evening time. We're supposed to go here. And we get that, we're like, man, I don't feel like going out anywhere. I just want to sit home. Like, it's just much easier to be comfortable, right? Yeah. And I think about, I would have never met your sister. I would have never met any of these girls, Janine, Abby, going out to fucking California. Like, every one of those moments was walking through that moment of uncomfortability of like, I could just sit here and be comfortable, and I could wake up tomorrow and go to the gym or go on my run, or no, I'm going to go get on the plane. I'm going to go fly out there. I'm going to walk up and introduce these people I don't know. But, like, so much good shit is on the other side of that. You know what I mean? It's just not staying.
Yeah. I've been very uncomfortable these last few years.
But I really feel like, and the life that you just sat here and told everybody about, that you've been through, all this pain, all this shit you've been through, years of fucking suffering and all that. Most regular people have never been around that. They've never felt that life. So now when we translate that into going and running a race and we get in that moment of uncomfortability, it was very easy for me to be like, I've been here before. You know what I mean? I know I can endure this. I know I can last this. I've laid in bed for 6 days straight. You know what I mean? Fucking kicking dope. Like, I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it translates where I feel like a lot of people will quit before we will too.
Yeah.
Or before we do.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because every time I do a podcast or anything like that, I get super nervous. But then I remind myself, I'm like, you have publicly humiliated yourself in like the worst way ever. What are you so worried about?
Right.
And it's fear and shame.
Yeah. Right.
And I have to tell it to shut up. Even coming here, I was nervous.
Yeah. I think you heard me say this before, but I always go back to 8 Mile, the end of 8 Mile. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
When he goes up on stage, he says everything that the guy's going to use against him, and then the dude's just standing there with nothing to say. You know what I mean? Your shit's already out there. My shit's already out there.
It's there.
What are you going to call me? A fucking heroin addict? A dope fiend? Like, what are you going to say to me that's going to, oh no, please don't. Like, I've owned that shit. I use that shit to help people every day, just like you do. So what is there to, who's going to judge you now?
No, and it's crazy because everybody is so supportive. Everybody.
It's wild how people that have never did drugs all of a sudden look up to us for just quitting drugs.
Everybody. And people also that are just like, I don't know, normal people, but they're like, I want to quit drinking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a crazy time now because it's like cool to be sober.
Can you believe we're healthier than, like majority of people?
No.
That's like the crazy part to me is like, they look up because they're like, you go to the gym, you go to therapy, you journal, you're always reading books, you're a mom, you're this, you're that, all these things.
Won't even take Tylenol, used to shoot up with toilet water.
No, and that's, and they're just like, I don't know how you manage to do all that because I have no choice.
Yep. Yeah.
This is who and I'm happy this way.
Right. When my wife and I we were dating at the time, and we had been living together and all that, and we were just, she was unhappy at one point because I was working so much, because I loved what I was doing. I was training people. I was working with people in recovery. So I'd train people all weekend, nights, it didn't matter. So first she started complaining about me working the weekends. So I dialed that back. Then she started complaining about me working the nights. And then I dialed that back. And then we both are very early to rise, early to bed people.
Yeah.
And so I would be gone from the house. I'd be at the gym at 4 a.m. And so I'd usually get home mid-afternoon, done with my day, and she'd be off work around 2. And so I'd get home, it might be like 4 or 5, and then she was giving me shit for that it was so late in the day. And I was like, you got to stop moving the goalposts on me. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, you have a boyfriend or a husband, like, I don't go out, I don't drink, I go to the gym every day, I fucking run every day, I help people, I go to work every day, like, bing, bing, I'm in bed every night, I don't go out with my friends, I don't go hang out in bars. And I was like, I don't know, like, you're doing a lot of complaining right now, but you're more than welcome to go out and find another me. Not saying I'm the shit, but just saying find another dude that's doing all this stuff, which is what we have to do to be okay in our lives. But I'll put my resume up against a lot of other people right now.
Well, that's kind of like where I got to the point where I wasn't listening and I thought I had it all figured out.
Okay.
Okay. And it was a kind of a bad place. It was a bad place for me to be in because I'm like, I did this, I did this all on my own. You know what I mean? Nobody can tell me shit, and I tend to be a workaholic too. I'm a busybody. I like to get into things, If I'm not working, then I have some sort of project going on or I'm talking to somebody on the phone about their crisis. I'm just...
Keep it going.
Yeah, I just keep it going constantly. So slowing down
is big, yeah.
And, taking the time to, spend time with my family.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I do everything like an addict.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. We just got to be able to figure out how to channel it in a healthy way. I get it. Trust me.
And finding balance was hard for me.
And
it's something I still go in and out of.
Yeah.
Where I'll just work, a ton and then I'll burn myself out. And then I'm mad at everybody that I have to do this.
Yeah. I've doing all this, everything I have with I Am Redemption, it's been like one of the most fulfilling, passionate things I've ever done. I wake up every day so fucking excited every day.
Yeah.
But the whole time while I'm doing this, I'm neglecting stuff at home. and then I go pour into that, and then I'm neglecting stuff out here. So it's always this endless way to find this healthy balance and stuff like that. But I have gotten a lot better at it. But the one thing, and I don't know if you've noticed or see this, is I've become very aware with how valuable my time is.
Absolutely.
Because I fucked off so much time in my life. I'm very, very like serious about my time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't have time to chase people, like all that.
Yes.
It's definitely given me that. And then like I've become much better of like shutting the phone off at certain times, putting the phone in the bathroom on the charger away from me, just so I can spend time with my wife or take them out with the dogs or whatever.
Yes.
And have that balance.
I've gotten so much better about that. You know, boundaries are something I lacked, like, you know, because I just never I lost a lot of friends. I've been to a lot of funerals. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I've been like the last person that like 4 of my friends have talked to before they passed. And it's just like, I know, I'm like the freaking Grim Reaper. That's how I feel.
Definitely.
You know, but that made me scared to like not answer the phone, you know, and that's something therapy has helped me with, because I lacked boundaries. I didn't want to be mad at you when you died. I didn't want to be, you know, I didn't want to not answer the phone. Not everybody's going to die because I don't answer the phone. You know, that's the reality of it. It just happened. And that's what happens when you're doing heroin, though. Mm-hmm. You know, and you're surrounded by heroin addicts. We just lose a lot of people. It's just a lot of like realizing, you know, what's important in my life. You know, my family is so important to me. And that's, you know, I have to have a clear-cut boundary on time. I can't sit on the phone with you for 4 hours. You know, I love you and I'm here for you, but it's something I have really had to work on. And I also like, you know, I had to learn how to say no, because I like to get in all sorts of little projects.
Yep.
You know, doing things.
I do too.
You're the project man.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. I say yes to everything and I fucking pay the price.
Yeah.
I get it.
Because then you got to go through with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I say yes to everything. I get all excited about it, and then I realize there's only one of me to do all this stuff. But it's a good time right now. There's a lot of people that are rallying around what we're doing.
It is, and how cool and how exciting. You know, and that's like when you said you get excited every day to wake up. I get to wake up every morning and choose what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, if I'm going to go to the gym, and then, you know, I'm going to go to work and, you know, come home, make dinner. Very normal, chill life, you know, like, and that's exciting for me.
Yes.
I'm not waking up sad, like, you know, what's going to happen today. Mm-hmm. You know, it is exciting.
Yeah.
And I value life.
Good shit. That's just giving me chills.
I do.
So there's let's say there's a man or woman out here listening to this right now. They just heard all the wildness you talked about, but they really identify with your story, but they're out there struggling right now. What would be your number one piece of advice for them?
Don't give up. Just never give up. Just keep trying and do what works for you. Whatever, like, just because it's working, something different's working for somebody else, that might not be what's going to work for you. Okay. You know, try a little bit of everything until you find what sticks. And, you know, this last time around, I got out of treatment and I just did a little bit of everything. And that's when I started reading and I started journaling and, you know, therapy and the gym and, you know, running and all these things, and find what was going to stick. And now I have a foundation. Yep. And it keeps growing. And what worked for me a year ago, some of it still does, but it's not the same routine that I had a year ago. It's just always evolving and changing. You know, and my, you know, relationship with God and spirituality has gotten, you know, much stronger. Like it keeps on evolving. And just like, don't give up. Just keep on going.
Hell yeah. Love it. Good stuff. This is my favorite question to ask. I've asked it every podcast I've ever done. Do you know what it is?
Is it the song?
It is.
It is? Okay.
So, hypothetically speaking, you're walking out UFC Women's Championship of the World tonight. What's your walkout song? And you're from up north, so you better bring some heat.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's what you're expecting.
Oh, it's not. Go ahead.
Okay. Ghost Inside, Avalanche.
Okay.
Hardcore song.
Okay.
Resilience.
Okay.
Facing Doubt. I'm going to make you listen to it.
All right. I'm going to listen to it.
It's a banger for real. I mean, it has like one of the strongest openings of a song I've ever heard in my life.
I
okay.
Like it. You're getting me excited.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you a hardcore boy? Maybe once was.
Rap.
Okay.
All rap.
Yeah. No, I'm an emo girl at heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's hardcore is like?
Screaming. Yeah.
That's your shit? Is it? You're a mosh pit girl?
No, I don't get into mosh pit.
No?
I'm 100 pounds. Yeah, I don't got it.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all get down out there. You know who Yellow Wolf is?
Yeah.
every time I go to a Yellow Wolf show, I always forget that it will always at one point break out in a mosh pit, and so I'll always be randomly in the middle, and then it just anarchy breaks out, and I'm like ready to.
Yeah, but you got that.
I don't want to be jumping around and knocking into people. It's only gonna go like I'm gonna get mad, and it's gonna. I don't do that for fun.
Yeah,
That's not.
I love shows, and see, and all my favorite bands from like high school, they're all doing their like 20-year reunion tours.
Oh no shit.
So we've been hitting all of them over the last few years.
And your husband's into it too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then my sister, you know, Amanda, both of them.
They're into it too?
Yeah.
I didn't know Amanda gets down on that.
Yeah.
She seems like the prim and proper one of y'all three. Am I wrong?
She's tricking you. No, she is. She is. You know.
Right?
Yeah, she is.
She's the one that did her drugs on, on the low, and.
But she's a savage. People think that she's the nicest out of the three of us, and I think it's because me and Tiffany have a lot of tattoos, and like louder or whatever. But Amanda is
not the nicest.
No.
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 Okay.
Not at all.
You heard it here.
Amanda, I love you, but.
You.
I love both my sisters, but Amanda, you're the meanest.
They're the shit. They're the shit. One day I gotta get both your I gotta get individual episodes from each of y'all, and then I gotta round it off with the three at one.
That would be fun, all three of us together.
How often are you guys together? Like a year?
Usually, a few times a year at least. I get to see both of them. We have a wedding in Florida in a few weeks, so we definitely get together once a year.
Okay.
The whole family.
We're going to be doing something big in Texas before the end of the year, so I imagine we're going to be able to make this happen.
Yeah. Just get her down here.
We will. What you got anything else you want to leave everybody with? Where they can find you? Maybe they tap into some of your content, get inspired? You don't have to. I'm just saying if you want to.
On TikTok, Valeen was here.
Okay.
That's mostly what I use. And I'm on Facebook. It's Valeen Holloway. But other than that,
Are
Instagram.
you on IG?
I am on Instagram. Valeen loves you.
Yeah.
But I use Instagram probably the least.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
Well, thankfully I got a hold of you though.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Like I would, yeah. I'm on there, but I just I don't.
I got you.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their preferred platforms.
Yeah. I'm a boomer, I feel like, and I love Facebook.
That's wild.
I know. I said it here.
My grandma has Facebook, so
I know.
You're good on there. Now, as far as doing social media and all that stuff, if you're not doing Facebook, you're leaving a big portion on the table because it's still the biggest platform there is.
Yeah.
But luckily, Instagram just posts to it, so that's where my stuff goes.
Yeah.
But if you would, the way we like to wrap up the show, you were so kind to come on here. You're vulnerable. You're authentic with your story. Everybody heard about the craziness with family and Dr. Phil. But if you take a look in your mirror, in the mirror. In the camera over there,
okay,
and throw out a couple I am statements to let the people know who you truly are.
I am resilient. I am strong. I'm a bad motherfucker. I am beautiful.
You are the shit. Thank you so much. You're a badass. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Bang.